Hello, hey everyone. Welcome to CSSBattle Saturday Night Live. And I'm Kushagra Gaur. Welcome here. Hey, Chris is here. Hey Chris, how are you? So today I was planning to do some versus battles if anyone is interested, just for a few minutes, maybe some very short, quick ones. Uh, Chris is here. Chris, let me know if you want to do one. Yes. Yeah, finally. I'm glad you did. Okay, till everyone joins and until someone is excited, I can have a go. Oh, cool. Okay, let's Chris, then let's do it. Okay, let me host one. And of course, like I'm streaming, so you can see my code. So I hope we maintain the rules and you don't see my code. So, Chris, you can go to the link that I have shared and you can join the battle, the versus battle. I'll set it to a very short one. I just want to do a minute or two. Let's do 2 minutes. Hey, Chris joined. Why did I get 3 notifications? Okay, I got a bug. Okay, Chris is in. Um, I'm just going with time attack since it's very short. Well, I think, yeah, we are good. Let's do it. Oh, you're not ready, Chris. You need to hit the I'm ready button. And as soon as we are both ready, the battle will begin. Oh, yes, Chris is ready. All right, let's do it. What's the target
Three,
gonna be?
two, one,
One,
play.
go. Oh, it's your first time versus. Cool. Nice. Oh, good one. I like this. All right, let's see. 2 minutes. This is nail biting. However, is he the target is it's always very nail biting when it is a time attack. Just a tip, keep submitting, as in when you have some progress, just keep hitting submit button because that's how you get a score in time attack. Otherwise, your code is not evaluated. I think this is 100 px. This is a little less. Okay, it looks good. Maybe this is 10 or shorter. Let's do March and 10 px. We don't want this. I think, yeah, a little bit more. 130, 59 seconds, Chris. Px, and this is 0. I'm gonna hit submit. We need one more div, and let's make this I. Keep hitting submit, Chris. That's how you get a score. Okay, we need screen mistake. 30 seconds. You still haven't submit, Chris. Keep hitting submit. I hope you can hear me while doing the barrel. Okay. Oh, 87, nice. Let me hit 1, 2. Okay, we can make this maybe 20. Okay, I'm at 93. 4 seconds left. Oh gosh. Uh, it's a draw. Okay, but yeah, we can compare our scores. I got 93.4. A little bit more, just a little bit more. Fun. This was fun. Actually, I think it could be a configuration maybe in the time attack mode that even if you don't get 100%, winner still gets decided, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't want that to be default. Yeah, the nerves. Yeah, totally. I mean, even if it was just a square centered in the canvas, it would have been like nail biting just because of the time. That's what time attack is. So yeah, maybe not as a default uh, setting, but something configurable. If the two players want, they can set it to on, and then even if you don't get 100%, the one who gets higher percent uh, can be declared as the winner. That could be a setting. Cool, but this was nice. Anyone else wants to do a versus battle? A very quick one, 2 minute one, if anyone wants to. I like the target. This one was nice. Good enough for a time attack, especially for just 2 minutes. Chris, you want to do one more? A 2 minute versus one more, and then we get to the daily targets. Let me know. It's okay to say no. We can go to the daily targets straight. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Okay, here's the invite link again. Oh, sorry. Oh, gosh, just missed. There's some bug. I'm getting 4 notifications this time. Okay, 2 minutes battle again. I'm ready. Battle is gonna start in 10, 9, 8.
3,
It's
2,
actually difficult to get
1.
100% in just 2 minutes, I
Play.
think. Oh, okay, good one. Let's do this. Blue color, we want circle, and then we want what is this? I don't know. Rounded something something. Um, let's make it this 50, 50. The C is gonna have a border radius because they are circle. I'm sorry if my voice is disturbing you, Chris. 60 maybe? No, it's 70. Okay, and the T ones are a little more than. Why am I typing? Okay. They need to have a border radius of big one. Okay, and their color is supposed to be yellow. Okay, and let's wrap them in flex, I think, or let's make them inline. Display inline block, and then the T can have 22 seconds. Oh, margin left minus 20 pixel. This looks good. And the C can have a margin left of 100, a little more 20, 20. Oh, I didn't submit. Gosh, I missed it. I was gonna submit and I missed it. Oh, nice. Oh, you're done with 3 circles. Nice. That was quick. Nice. Interesting. It's actually the first time I'm doing a live versus on a stream. Cool. Good battles, Chris. Thanks for hopping in. Okay, folks, let's get to daily targets. Which one are we gonna reverse engineer today? Um, we can do this one, the one from June 6th. That that was like very simple shapes again, but looks interesting. Or we could do the one from June 5th. That is also interesting. The one from June 4th, I think that also had pretty good um variance in the solution. Lot of different approaches there. I think so. Let's go with June 4th. I got a message saying that it was a draw. Yeah, like I mentioned, so right now a winner is only declared in a time attack if you get 100%. If someone gets 100%, only then uh, the player is a winner. Otherwise, like if you get any score less than 100, it's not, it's same for the system. So that's why it was draw because neither of us got 100%. So that's what I was suggesting. Maybe it could be a configuration. Like when you create a time attack, you can decide to have a winner even if you don't have 100%, whoever gets the more match. Okay, cool. Let's do the June 4th one. This is interesting one. Okay, so how would I do this trivially? So it might not be evident straight away, but since I created the daily target, this one, I know that this is a semicircle and this one is a semicircle too. There are basically two semicircles, just one below another, and they are clipped at a central position, just the same vertical area that you see, the above semicircle, it gets removed from that area, and the the bottom semicircle, it just shows in that area, that central area. Like, that's the only difference. That's how this target was made. Was there an option to turn the music off in the verses? It was quite distracting. Yeah, there was. Like if you see this gear here in usual editor, you don't have that music option. But when you're doing a versus battle, you also see a background configuration here. You can turn or you can also dim it, like lower the volume down. Okay, so yeah, that's how I would do it. So this is basically exactly the segment of this very semicircle. Okay, let's see the top solutions. Okay, 107 top score by David. And then there is 110, 110, 110, 3 110s. Then there's 111. Okay, yeah, some difference there, but let's see. Let's load in David's solution. Pretty small solution, as always. Let's unminify it so that we can read it better. Okay, big background. It's all background, is it? Yeah, it's completely background. There's nothing else. No, I was wrong. It's not as usual. It's very short. It's too short, in fact. Just two properties on one rule. I mean, one selector. That's just like one rule set. Interesting. This is gonna be interesting. Let's see. Okay. Let's lower the font size a bit down. Okay. So there's no HTML element here. It's just styling on star, which means HTML and the body. Those two elements are the only ones we have. And let's comment out the two declarations. This can also be unminified to this. Okay. Uh, I think like we'll go with background first because the margin is just to like position and maybe scale up, scale down things. So it won't show up anything unless we have something on the canvas. So let's do margin second. Let's try to understand what's happening with the background. It's a complex background. It's a lot of properties being dumped here in the shorthand. So let's try to figure out what's happening here. So without the margin, this is what the background does. Like quickly seeing from the output, I see there's a circle. There's a circle like a circle with a width, with a yeah, with a width, and it's being repeated. So that's why you also see some slice of the same circle being repeated downwards. Yeah, so that's what it looks from the output, but let's see the code and figure out what's happening actually. Okay, let's go inside the iframe. Cool, so this is HTML, this is body. Now remember, this is about background being set on star. So that means because there is a background on, when you put a background on body, it gets applied, it gets what do you call, it gets lifted to the root canvas if there is no background on the HTML tag, right? But if there is a background on the HTML tag, that gets lifted to the root canvas. So in this case, we have background set on both the body and the HTML tag. So the body background would stay on the body, but the HTML background would get lifted to the root canvas, like we saw in the last stream, and also like in some of the previous streams. That would happen, and what we concluded from that last time was there's a very significant outcome of the background getting lifted to the root canvas, which is uh, if you do anything to the HTML tag, nothing would happen to the background, right? That's what it was. Oh, sorry, like it was about the transform, I think. If you do any transformation on the HTML tag, it won't get affected. It won't get, it won't affect the background, which is now on the root canvas. But yeah, usually it would. Cool. So yeah, that is what would happen. The background on the HTML would get applied on the root canvas. Let's see what how that plays here. So just for clarity, let's make it just body. Okay, interesting. So now that is just on the body. we'll be like it will be easier to figure out what's happening. Okay. There's just yeah, so there is a background image set which is a radial gradient. Then it's being positioned. You can see the position X and Y being set, which is 500 VW and minus 81 mm. Very interesting units, a combination of units there. Of course, for code golfing. Then there is also a background size set on it, which is 300% of whatever the the size of body is for this particular rule. So, okay, let's get to the position and size next. Let's try to figure out what's happening with the background image. So it's a radial gradient, first of all. And this is a typical syntax that you have to create a circle. So you can keep creating circles, filled circles, and then like if you start from a green circle, so you get this, and then if you create a red radial gradient, oh sorry, a black radial gradient with a small um, color stop, then you would have this stroke kind of thing, right? So basically, this is a radial gradient which starts from green. So you get this. Then there is a little bit of black, which is, I believe, it's around 25 VW, I think. So you can see like it starts from green, goes up to 25 VW. So that's the first radius. And then we have a little bit of black, which goes from zero. That's a hack. Like you start from uh, like if you say it starts from zero, that basically creates a hard color stop. So this basically lets us create a hard color stop at 25 VW, and then the black goes up till 130 px. So this is basically 25 VW, this is 130 px, and whatever the difference is for a 400 by 300 canvas, it's the width of the black part. And then there is green after that, all throughout, right? So three colors in this particular radial gradient, and it's positioned at 500 VW and minus 81 mm. We can try commenting this out and see what happens by default. So like let me uncomment let me remove this. This is what you get, right? It's a very minute difference. Probably will have a more significant effect when this same thing gets applied to the HTML. Right now, remember, we have it just on the body. So if we bring it back, pretty much keeps it centered again, a little bit lifted to the top just by a small amount. And then the background size is 300% of the root canvas. I wonder why doesn't that do any significant change here? When I would assume a normal circle to become 3 3x of its size with that background, but it's sort of like it sort of stays the same. What if I make this 100? Okay, so it's background size, right? Doesn't look like it's changing the size. And this looks as if it's changing the offset. Oh, okay, the background size won't affect our circle, and that is because the units being used, I think. So with the changed background size, 25 VW stays the same, right? It stays whatever is based on 400 by 300 canvas. And then there is 300, 130 pixel, which is also an absolute unit. So should it change? It's okay if I shrink it, it does get changed. Why doesn't it affect when I scale it up? This is 100% background size. This is 110. Okay, let's check one thing. So what exactly is 110%? I think it applies to both X and Y if there is just one unit. So overall it gets enlarged by 110%. I would expect the circle, should it enlarge or not? So let's see. Background size property sets the size of element's background image. The image can be left to its natural size, stretched, or constrained to fit um, the available space. It's 30% off. In just a second, guys. Something is up. Okay, yeah, so where were we? Background size should enlarge. So if it's here, it's 30% here. So it's overall 30% of whatever the whole canvas is. If I make it 300%, it should become 3 times our canvas, right? Let me know if anyone has an idea what's happening here. Mm, The circle seems to stay the same always. Okay, let's try to get back to it later. But for now, this is what we have. Mm, uh, Circle in the center. Cool. Now, something happens when we put this same uh, set of declarations on the HTML also. If I make it star, this is what we get. Oh, let's see the HTML also. Yeah, as expected, like it shows the same way, just like on the body. But when we have it on both the elements, this is how it shows. So body tag, this is HTML. Let's do some property setting here so that we can see the difference between both. Let's copy this exactly, put it on the background, but let's use different colors here so that we know what's happening. One thing that we can do is remove this part, or we can make it actually a little lighter. So this sets some opacity on the color, and we can make the central color red, probably. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good enough. So now what's happening here is um, there's the same background is set on both HTML and body. We have changed the colors, of course, so that we can see the difference. And with that change in color, we see that the backgrounds are not exactly overlapping each other anymore. I mean, when we saw it individually on HTML tag and the body tag, it looked as if they render the at the same position, right in the center, a little bit upwards, but mostly in the center of the screen. But that's not the case when this gets applied to both HTML and the body tag. So why is that? Um, so the red one that we see, that's on the body, and that's a little shifted. So one thing that's different between body and HTML tag is body is a little shorter. Uh, so there's a default margin that you get, right? So you can see there's a default margin that we get, the 8 pixel one. So that's why the body is a little shorter. That's one difference. Okay, Chris has something to say. You aren't seeing the HTML circle behind the body. Yeah. So with the opacity, we can now see that. But then why we're trying to figure out like why are the two circles are not overlapping each other? They should be. I would expect them to show at the same position. It's probably because of the background positioning that is there. Like the margin, I think that is only applied to the body, pulling it across and up, revealing the HTML circle behind it. Okay, interesting. Um, in the final output, now with the different color on the body tag, we can see how it's being, how both the tags play here. So the bottom segment, the segment of the circle that we created, that's on the body. That's the body tag, right? You can see the body. The body is actually clipped somehow so that it just shows the segment that we need. And the body itself shows on the HTML tag. That's how the clipping of the HTML tag is achieved, right? What is this percent? Like it's 8% from the top. Left and right margins are 75 pixel, and the bottom one is a big number but in negative. So that should basically pull the bottom side down, right? Thereby increasing the height of whatever element it gets applied to. Let's see how why the body shows like this. Okay, so as expected, you can see the body is enlarged quite a bit vertically. It has a big height because we had this a big negative 260 margin on the bottom edge. and it's much more bigger because the same negative margin is on the HTML tag also. So when the negative margin on the bottom edge got applied to the HTML tag, the HTML expanded, right? The height of HTML increased. With that, body increased as well. And then the same negative margin is on the body too. So again, the same cascading of the margin. It gets applied on HTML once, but on the body twice. So body becomes much more longer height-wise. So you can see this is our HTML tag. There's a little bit of margin on the top, some margin on the left and right, size equal margin there, and then a negative bottom margin, which increases the height of the HTML tag. And then the body is much longer, as you can see. So the left and right margins, let's talk about those first. The left and right margins basically are used to reduce the elements to their right width so that HTML element is this wide and the body becomes much thinner than the HTML tag, which is exactly this wide, right? So that's why there is a left and right margin. It makes our body very narrow, and so you see just the part, which is like this part, right? And without that uh, margin, you can see like we'll have a full circle, but that gets clipped. So if you were to remove, I'm sorry, like not this one. So if you were to remove this thing, right? So it's like completely spanning over the width of the body and the HTML tag. As you bring in, as you try to shorten the width of the elements with increasing margin, with more and more margin, the elements start getting shorter and shorter, right? You can see. So this is supposedly the right amount of margin, which makes the body exactly this wide. So that's what the left and right margin is for. And the bottom margin is a hack, it seems, to position the circle at the right place, right? And why is that? Because uh, when you increase the height of, so remember the gradient that we are creating here, that's a repeating gradient, right? It gets repeated horizontally and vertically both. So when you increase the height of an element, you would start seeing different sort of the repetition of the background image that would differ based on whatever the width and the height of the element is. For example, if you don't have any height, this is how the, in fact, like let's remove this too. So this is how the background image shows. But notice what happens if I start increasing the height. So you can see the element is now increasing in height. Sorry. Yeah. So because the element is increasing, all the positioning of the background image would change too, because it depends on the height of the, or whatever dimension of the element. It has to position the circles based on that. So with increasing height, we basically alter the position of the circles too. Whatever is being visible gets changed. So the value that we get to here is basically a margin which gets us the appropriate height so that the circle shows up exactly where we want, right? So at minus 230, you can see we get a circle at this place in the body, and then all we need to do is clip it. So you can see like even with the left and right margin, the elements are getting shorter. So again, as I said, with the changing dimension, the background image gets changed too. It depends on the size of the element. So as we are shrinking the body again, the circles keep moving. Those are the repeated circles that keep moving, like not actually moving, but they are rendering at different places according to whatever the dimension of the element is at that point. So 75 is again the particular margin where we get a certain width for our elements, which show the circle at the place that we want, right? That's what the margins are for here, getting the circles at the right position, and of course, making the elements the correct dimension that we want, right? It's more about the body. Like the body should be exactly this thing, right? The central area where we want the things to get clipped and yeah, clipped, both are clipped. So yeah, that's the width we need, and the height is immaterial here. It's just about like this circle ending should be at the position that we want. That's it. So, okay, margins get us the right dimension, and then position and background size. I'm not sure exactly like what the numbers actually mean, as in how do you reach the numbers, but purpose-wise, it's a combination of numbers that again get us the circles at the position that we need. Though I'm not sure like if there could be some other rationale behind the values as well, because remember they get applied both to the HTML and the body tag, right? So the numbers has to be such that even if they get applied to both the tags, they should work, right? What did we miss here? There's something that we changed probably. Yeah, yeah, I think it was the margin. Yeah, it's 230. Cool. So that's the approach. Crazy. I mean, couldn't think like you could have the body. I mean, the red circle, the red color in the body gradient made it very clear, but otherwise, without that, it's very difficult to even visualize that it could be the body with the same gradient as the HTML, but it shows only the certain area of the image, and then the body clips the background of the HTML to show to not show the certain area of the image, the background image. Genius solution. Very, very amazing approach. Nice. Let's see if there are different approaches. I think this is a little different. The one by Hendrik, it's 3 characters longer. It uses background radial gradient and margins, but the the way it creates the gradient is a little different. In fact, the one by Pinda Rose is different than Hendrik's solution. There's no space background size here. Sorry, background repeat, I think. It's a value for background repeat. That's not being used here. So it's different. Let's try to load up Hendrik's solution. Let's see if it's, I mean, how it's different. So again, just a background. Okay. Okay, it's quite different. So there's a nested selector, again, like just HTML and the body that the solution uses. It has a background of radial gradient on both the elements, but then there is a specific margin just for the body, right? Star inside star, so that's body, the only nested element that we have. If we uncomment this, this is what we get. So the core background image is, I think, same, which is like a circle, a green circle with a black stroke sort of, and then green all throughout after that. Let's do the same thing we did with the previous solution. We'll put the same gradient on body tag, but this time let's change the colors. So this is transparent. Let's keep it transparent. But let's change this one. This is transparent again. Okay, interesting. So this is the body tag. This is the HTML tag. Hey, White, how are you? Thank you for dropping by. It's okay. I can be late. You did a versus. Yes. Yeah, maybe we can do one after this. If you decide to stay, we can do one or two versus after this daily target. I think it will be time, so we won't be able to take up more daily targets. So let's just figure out this one and then let's do a versus after this. It was fun actually. Chris and I did it. It was fun. Just a 2-minute battle. Okay. What's happening here? We don't have any margins here, but still the circles don't show up centered. Probably because of the other background positions. So let's see here. There's a background image of radial gradient. Then there's a Y offset of -2 inches. So that sets the circle somewhere up. And there's a repeat of space. That's it, right? Yep. Okay. So let's try to remove things and see what's happening. So what if we remove space first of all? There's a background color as well. Interesting. So there's a background image, but both of like it also has a background color. So that gets us the green color. Interesting. It uses background color, but still it's able to somehow get the HTML to show behind the body. How is that happening? Shouldn't the background color of body always overlap the HTML? Let's see. In fact, we can change this one and see what's happening. Let's make it blue. Okay. I get some idea what's happening. Okay, so I have removed space from both the radial gradients. Not actually the radial gradient, but the backgrounds. And then this is what we get. You can see we can make it HTML and get it out. This will be much clearer. Okay, so right now there is a background in HTML, and if I were to turn this off, this is what we would get. So there is a same circle sort of thing. There's a negative Y offset, so that's why it shows like this. If you make this 0, it would show up centered, but if we try to keep going -Y, you can see the circle moving up slowly, right? So this is 1 inch and 2 inch where is where the solution keeps it. So this is what we get if the same radial gradient gets applied on the body. We get a similar stuff, just the different colors because I have set different colors for debugging purposes, but pretty same stuff there. Not exactly. Okay. You can see like it's not exactly overlapping, right? It's different. Uh, Again, the body is shorter than the HTML, so should that affect? No, probably. So you have the same background image on the body, but it shows differently. What happens if we make it 0? Okay, it shows exactly the same, like in the center. This should be the center too. Okay. Now, if we try to offset it by -2, it goes to a different place. The top circle seems to overlap with the circle, with the background of HTML tag. But this circle, you can see it's not exactly overlapping. Why is that? If one circle overlaps, shouldn't the second circle just below it overlap too? Okay, let's come to that part. But essentially, like we have this thing when we put the radial gradient on both the tags, and then there is just this margin left to be applied only to the body tag. Okay, let's see what this is doing. Let's do it manually here. So let's put in 0 for all the three shorthand values. The first thing that the solution does is set a top margin on the body tag. So that should shift the body downwards, right? Let's do it incrementally. So this is 0, this is 5, this is 10. You can see the body is shifting down. 30, 40. You see what's happening? Because of the top margin, the body height is reduced, which we can verify by inspecting the body here. So because of the top margin, you can see the height is reduced by 50 pixels because that's the top margin. So body is shorter now, and because the gradients and their positioning, especially like when things are repeating, their positioning depends on the height, on the dimension of the elements, right? Because it has to determine how much of the background image can be positioned in the particular space that we have. So if like if it sees like it's not with the default background repeat, but when you use values like I think space and round and all those things, the dimensions play a role there. The algorithm tries to figure out how many iterations of the background image can be accommodated in the space that we have inside the element. So dimensions play a role then. So that's why like when the body becomes shorter, you can see the circles like coming closer to each other because that's what like is the case when the body is shorter height wise. So 84 is where we want to reach. 60, 70, 80. You can see the circles are now overlapping each other. You see the red circles? Those are now on top of each other. I'm still not sure why they should overlap though again. Does it have to do with a -2? I think it just offsets, right? This is background Y and it should just offset I mean, the whole background is rendered, but then with the background position, you can offset the background position, background image. But the images should itself shouldn't change. So if it is overlapping, then it should be overlapping now as well. We just move it to the top with this. But why it overlaps is what I'm not understanding. If there is less, if there is smaller height, um, I mean, the next iteration, the next repetition of the background image should start after the first iteration. Why should it overlap? Ooh, I would say like the solutions today are not uh, quite easy to understand. I mean, they don't have a lot of properties, but background itself is a little tricky property to understand. And it's like combination of a lot of sub properties, right? So you need to understand how all those sub properties are working to finally understand how they come together and create the visual that we want to achieve. Okay, so with shorter height of the body tag, the circles come closer vertically, and that's why we get this overlapping circles in just the body. Remember, just the body. Let's try to set the left and right margins now. So with the increasing left and right margins, the body would shrink down width-wise, and you can see that happening exactly. Again, like the previous solution, we want to make the body short enough to just be this length, right? This wide. Whatever this central area is where the clipping happens, that is what we want to make the body size to. So at 150, that is what we get, right? Exactly here. So again, same thing. You can see the body overlaps the HTML, and that's how it clips this region off. And the body itself is very short, so that's how just this region shows inside the body, right? So you place two gradients, clip them off using this technique, and then all that is left is like getting the circles to the right position so that they show like this. So that's where the final minus 260 bottom margin comes in, again increasing the height of the body tag and thereby bringing the circle, that particular repetition that we want, downwards and to this position that we need. This is minus 10, so you'll see like when I increase the height of the body tag, the circles start separating again. But there's one thing that we missed, like it was supposed to be space, right? The space is the repetition algorithm that this solution uses. So with increasing height and the repetition as space, we get the body's background image to where we want. It's 260, right? Interesting. Sort of same approach, but then the specific attributes and the specific subproperties of the background that got used are different in both the solutions, and that led to the three character difference. But yeah, very, very creative approach. Very interesting. Nice. Cool. I think let's haul the daily targets reverse engineering program right there, and let's do a versus battle if anyone is up. White, white, if you are here. Uh, Let me know in the chat. We can do one or two battles. Let me go to the verses. Cool. Let's wait for White to respond. White, if you're here, do you still want to do a versus? Actually, I'm thinking of a feature here. Maybe I'll get to implement that. So in versus, you can do one-on-one battles, right? Um, hey Joe, welcome to the party. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for dropping by. So yeah, I was saying, you can currently you can do versus as one-on-one, just two players, right? Battling each other. So I was thinking a tournament feature here where you can create those what do you call? You can put in all the players, whoever wants to participate in the tournament, and then the players get paired up into different matches, and then you see that graph which you usually see in games like FIFA or any other games where you have tournaments, right? So pairs of players who battle in the first stage, and then whoever wins from that, then you see those, and then like stage wise, you sort of like filter out players by like the matches between them, and then you slowly reduce to two players who enter the final match, and then they battle it out in the final versus. So same sort of tournament graph where you see those pairs and matches, something like that. And then once we have that, we can do a tournament using the versus battle. Had this, yeah, a tournament, yeah, had this idea. So maybe like I'll try to get this implement soon. Then we can do a tournament. It'd be fun. Cool. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, cool idea. White is not here. Who else wants to do a versus? Joe, do you wanna? Real time live battle. Yeah, probably we can do it live too. Live stream the whole tournament. So Chris and I did a versus two battles actually, two versus battles, and it was fun. We did a 2 minute battle. Let me know, Joe, if you want to do a 2 minute versus battle. Okay, Joe's in. Let me create. Oh, the inspector can go now. Okay, this invite link for you, Joe. It's in the public chat, but I'm expecting just Joe to join. Let me set it to 2. Okay, Joe's in. It's a 2 minute battle, so get ready. I'm ready. I'm already warmed up. Okay, just one thing to remember. First of all, if you don't get 100% match, nobody wins. It would show up as a draw. But we'll ignore that. Whoever gets more percentage, we'll declare it as declare the person as a winner. And small tip, do keep submitting because that's how you get a score. Cool. I'm ready too. Let's do this. Let's keep submitting. Let's see who wins.
Three, two,
2, 1,
one.
go.
Play.
What are we? Okay, interesting. Simple enough, but remember we just have 2 minutes, and there I did a typo. Okay, and then we have a border radius of 50%. Let's pick the right color. Maybe you could have auto submit every 6 seconds. There's a reason we don't have that. Uh, Let me try to explain after the match. Let me focus on the match first. Okay. We need two of the divs and then the second div. It's to be it's too absolute here. Left is a little bit 20, no, 40, 50. Let's do 50. And this one is 200, no, maybe 250. Let's do a submit. And this one is again 200, a little bit less. Okay, the circles are bigger. First of all, is this it? Joe, keep submitting as and when you have something. We just have 35 seconds left. And let me do a resubmit. Okay, this is a little bit to the left and to. Okay, okay. I think I have the circles. All we need is the top. No pixel. What happened? What happened to my circle? Okay, I have a missing semicolon. 9 seconds. Ah, I screwed up there. 95, 95. Joe, you didn't submit. Come on. Yeah, so why not submit X seconds every X seconds? Um, so the reason for that is like it makes the experience a little ambiguous and difficult to understand. So remember, like if it's an automatic submission, you can't be sure the state, you can be sure about the state of the player, right? You could have built the whole target, and then when you are on the final stuff, you're making changes, and at the very point where the submission is supposed to happen, the auto submission, you could be in a state where even though the whole thing is there, but you have certain properties, like a semicolon missing, and submit button locked. Yeah, it's locked because the time is over. So yeah, saying like the player could be in a state where there's probably just a missing semicolon, and because of that, the whole code is broken right now. It can't render the target correctly, and so if you auto submit at that point, it's useless because um, you would get a very low score compared to what you got like maybe before that, right? So the auto submissions won't be um, useful every time. Now we could ignore the submissions which lead to a lower score than the um, previous submission that the player made. That's something we could do. But then again, there's still a chance that all the auto submissions that happen, in the worst case, they might happen in a state where you never get a percentage that that your code deserves. You could always be in a broken state whenever the auto submission happens. I mean, it's a edge case, but again, we have to cater that. So the point being, the auto submissions are not reliable uh, because of the state of the code, and then you have to bring in manual submission then. And when you have both auto submission and manual submissions going on, then it becomes a little difficult to like try to understand how the game is working. It's about like making the experience a little bit simpler. Uh, One thing that we actually planned, but it's missing right now, we should do that, is nudging the player after every interval instead of auto submitting, maybe nudging the player that, hey, it's been a while since you last submitted, and if you think you are in a good state, maybe you can submit. Cool. Was a fun versus battle. All the matches. 2 minute battles are actually like more fun. Last time I've tried like 10-minute battle, especially for time attack, making it 2 minute like makes it even more fun, more nerve-wracking, like Chris said. Cool. Thanks for playing, Joe and Chris. Really fun. Yeah, just real-time view makes more sense. Right. Cool. Great stream today. We tried something new versus battles. I liked it. Maybe we can carry this forward to the future streams as well. I'll try to post it in the channel also that like other p players also know about this. We'll be doing live versus in the streams, and then people could like pitch in for versus battles. Fun daily target too. It was not simple. Like the backgrounds, as I said, like it's always tricky how they play out, but very creative approaches. Learned a bit there. So yeah, great stream today. Okay, Joe says could add a crease stroke to submit maybe. It's already there, no? You can do Command S on a Mac to submit. That's how I was submitting. I should check on the Windows machine though. It should work with Control S, I believe. But let me know if you are on Windows and if it didn't work. I will check that. Cool. That would be it for today's stream. Thanks all for joining. I hope to see you again next Saturday, same time, same channel. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so that you get notified about it. Okay, it's me signing off. See you next time. Bye bye.